This is Israel cuts off electricity to Gaza. This comes after Israel's suspension of all goods and supplies into the territory last week, and we have perspective on it from Arwa Damon, who joins us now, president and founder of INARA, which is the International Network for Aid, Relief, and Assistance. Arwa, it's always good to see you. Thank you for coming on again on this. We were talking about it earlier in terms of a bridge too far. What is your perspective?
I mean, many would argue that, it was a bridge too far months and months and months ago. We have to remember that it's not as if Gaza had electricity and it was all of a sudden just cut off. Actually, Israel cut off all electricity and water supply to Gaza within a very short period after October 7th. And now when it comes to what we're seeing happening right now, this is specifically the electricity that is to one of the key desalination plants that provides the vast majority of clean drinking water for roughly 500,000 people that are located in central Gaza. Now, this was a line that was not active up until around 4 months ago, when Israel actually did then decide to reactivate it, allowing for this desalination plant to come back online. That is what we are seeing being cut off right now, which means that its production capacity has significantly been diminished. Now, when we take that into the context of humanitarian aid being cut off, it becomes significantly more serious, because for months now, Gazans have effectively been operating without electricity, and in lieu of having power, they have been using things like generators and solar panels to be able to have these desalination plants, water purification plants, waste management plants functioning. And when I say functioning, we're talking about still functioning at a minimal level.
Right.
But when you don't have the power to the plants, and when you also don't have sufficient fuel entering Gaza because all humanitarian aid has been cut off, well, you can imagine just how catastrophic that is, and just how little water is actually getting to the people.
And ceasefire talks at this point, is it even something that we should be considering, or just forget it?
I mean, look, we're hearing all sorts of, different things happening right now, with modified agreements being put onto the table, trying to get Hamas and Israel to a point where, if at the very least, the bombings do not start again, and some sort of a continuation of the first phase does move forward. We have been hearing that, Hamas has effectively agreed to some of these conditions, or rather agreed to a proposal that would see it effectively step aside from power, eventually actually disband, to have a sort of group of technocrats temporarily rule over Gaza. This is not something, at least based on the initial reports that are out there, is something that Israel is willing to consider. But I think what is very crucial that we focus on right now is not necessarily what the long-term strategy is going to be, but trying to figure out how to end this siege upon siege of Gaza. I mean, to continuously use access of humanitarian aid as a bargaining chip in these negotiations, take it from preventing all aid from entering the Gaza Strip, causing food shortages again, causing fuel shortages to hospitals, making it even more difficult for humanitarian missions to access Gaza, cutting off power, access to water. I mean, these are issues that, by all counts, should never be part of a negotiation or a bargaining chip. And yet it is what we have been seeing, from the get-go, which increasingly exacerbates humanitarian organizations' ability to operate inside the Gaza Strip.
Yeah, which I know you've done a number of times, or tried to in recent months. Arwa, thank you. Arwa, thanks so much for watching. Just go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.